We're here at Trinity Island Holiday Park, just 20 minutes out of Hervey Bay on the Fraser Coast.
We're going to give you a bit of a walkthrough of our Supreme Territory and Leader Xpedition caravans. This is the front of the caravan of the Supreme Territory and Leader Xpedition vans. Right here we have the DO35 hitch. They all come standard with the 300mm A-frame extension using the incredible Road King chassis. So these all come with a toolbox which has the gas bottles, two 9kg gas bottles on one side. We just got to make sure you're always turning these gas bottles off when you're traveling. On the other side of the toolbox we have a really handy slide out tray which you can use for a generator slide, or a lot of people chuck a bit of wood or something like that in there. So that is extremely handy. So we also have the stone guard as standard. Now this is actually removable. So if you're trying to get into some really tight turns or something like that, you can actually just pull this out, take this off, which means you're not going to hit it with the back of your car. The other thing that's on this is the breakaway switch. So basically this attaches to your car. Make sure you don't attach it to your hitch or anything like that. It's got to be mounted to the chassis of the car. And what happens is if for some reason your caravan decides to detach, this will activate and that'll actually lock the brakes on. At the front of the van is where you hook up your mains water. So this also has your pressure reducer and your check valve. So basically when you got your pump on, no water is going to be coming back out. You've also got an outlet here if you want to use it basically for rinsing your feed or filling up your drink bottle, that kind of stuff. This is the utility side of the caravan. We have tunnel boots that go straight through, which is amazing for storage. We also have a gas electric hot water system. So basically when you're off grid you're using gas, when you're plugged into like a caravan park with your 240 volt, it'll run straight on that so you're not using your own gas, which is really handy. The outdoor shower comes standard, so that is really handy for washing the kids' feet down, filling up buckets, washing the dogs, all that kind of stuff. All right, so underneath here we have our battery box, which is mounted directly onto the chassis. So this is a dual battery system as standard, and these batteries are powered by the Red Arc charger which is inside, and also the 420 watts of solar which is mounted up on the roof. Having this open box here makes it so easy to get actually access to the batteries. So located next to the battery box is this grey Anderson plug. So this is used for if you need to put an extra solar panel out in the ground, like a solar blanket or something like that. So that's wired directly to the batteries. So you just got to make sure you've got your own regulator that comes with a solar blanket. All right, so here we have our water filler points. So we got two tanks, so we got two spots to fill up. So these are as simple as pushing in and twisting to take them out. Again, just push in and twist. It's as easy as that. So once they're locked, they will just continue to turn and you won't be able to push them in. Basically all you do is chuck your hose in there, fill it in. It's already got breather hoses attached to it, so which makes it a lot easier to fill up. It won't keep spitting out. So this is the rear of the fridge. And if you notice here, it has this little black pipe sticking out. So this is basically the drain that comes from inside the fridge. So when you get a lot of condensation on the fins in the fridge, that pulls up and runs out here. So if you ever notice that this is blocked, it means you're going to get a lot of moisture and water that's going to be sitting inside your fridge. So make sure that's always clear. It also got a little fan in here. So what that does is when it's really hot, you turn the fan on and it pulls out all the hot air that's in there. You've also got an extra vent up here, and you've got one up the top as well. So that's what we call a tropical rated fridge. And basically what the air does is it flows in and all the way out the top, so it's got amazing ventilation. So this is your main power inlet. So this is your 240 15 amp connection. So again, when you're at a caravan park or you're at a source where you've got 15 amp 240 volt supply, this is where you plug into. That powers up your aircon, your microwave, all that kind of stuff, and charges up your batteries at the same time. This is one part of the caravan I reckon that the whole family should be joined in. This is the toilet cassette. So we supply a chemical toilet, and this is the cassette right here. So you can see that it's locked in place. We got the little orange handle here. So to remove it, you just got to lift that up and pull the cassette out. It's as simple as that. So what you then need to do is when you get over to the dump point, you open it up, and there's a little orange button right here that you got to press. And what that does is that puts a little bit of air into the canister, which means you can then empty it without it splashing back too much. And then when you're done, rinse it out with a little bit of water, flush it out again, close it up, and it's easy as sliding it straight back in. Pushing it in, and you've always got to make sure that locks back into position. So when you're driving, that is not going to pop out at all. So the best tip is to always use the right amount of chemicals, because that'll prevent any kind of smell. It'll actually make the solids in there break up a lot easier and make it so much easier to dump. So this is your grey water waste valve. So underneath you've got a 95 litre grey water tank. So in some cases like national parks and all that, you need to actually have this valve closed. But then generally most caravan parks and everything, you're able to run all that water out into a drain, or even some places like you to use it to freshen their grass up as well. So basically that's all the water that's coming from your sinks and your shower. This is the rear of the caravan. So this is where we mount our spare tyre. It's also mounted on a 4-arm chassis. So you've got about 80 kilos of weight you can add to this. You also got your jerry can holder. And we also have the light bar at the back. So if you're in the outback somewhere and you want to light up somewhere out the back, that's what that's for. And as standard, we also have a reverse camera. We supply you a kit to wire up to your car for that. So this is the awning side of the caravan now. So again, we have the tunnel boot, which gives you the direct access straight through right here. So that is so good. You put all your chairs and all that kind of stuff in there. It's a great amount of storage. So in this tunnel boot, we also keep our tools like the wheel brace and the jack arm, and also the awning rod. We also have our compliance plate located in here, so that tells you everything about the tear weight, the bore weight, everything like that. It also has a light in here, so late at night when you can't see anything and you're scrounging around for something, this light comes in very handy. All right, so here we have our grab handle, our light up blue grab handle, so that's really handy seeing that at night, and our 2-piece door. So this clips onto the back, and you can also separate the door by lifting that handle. And what that does is that gets a huge amount of breeze to be able to come through the van. So the one thing you don't want to do with these handles is push these handles down, because they can break. So you always got to be pulling them up and not pushing them down. So we also have the step underneath the door, and to pull this out, you just lift it up a little and it comes straight out. To pack it away, again, lifting it up and pushing in. So this is the picnic table located on this side. All you do is pull these levers down, and there you go. You can only put 30 kilos max load onto this shelf. The other good thing is at night it has this little light that you can turn on. So if you're doing a bit of cooking or something out here, you can actually light up and look at what you're doing. We have our TV box located on the outside here. So this is exactly the same bracket they have inside. So your TV can come straight out from inside and put it directly outside. It's also got all your power and your antenna connection in here. Located on this side is also a 10 amp outlet. So that's if you want to power like a fridge or something on the outside. It's also got your 12 volt USB ports and a socket as well. So on all the Supreme Territory and Leader Xpedition vans, we have the new universal legs. So these legs drop down like that, and then all you got to do is flick the lever till it touches the ground. And then it is simple as winding it till it locks into place. So now we're up to the awning. I'm just going to show you exactly how we're going to use this thing. All right, so what you got to do is you got to flick this lever at the back. You're going to undo the knob, so you got to do that on each side. And then once that is done, there is a little lever up here that you push, so that dictates that it's ready to come out. Now once you've done that, you come across to your little tag right here, and you're able to then pull the awning straight out. So once that barrel is in the right position, you've just got to slide these arms up and lock them into position. Once that's locked in, you tighten up this knob up here, and what that does is that locks all this in. All right, the next step is to lift this awning up to the desired level. So it's as simple as pulling this lever and lifting it up, just like that. And you've got to repeat the step on the other side. All right, so the last thing I like to do is I like to put this back into the retract position. So by pulling this lever down again, that's in the retraction position. And what that means is if the wind really does pick up, it's not going to really be able to flip right over the caravan again, because once these do come loose, it's going to want to retract back into the caravan. So that's the outside of the van covered. Now let's head inside.
Now it's my turn to show you inside. So all our caravans come standard with an oven, grill and stovetop. Just make sure that both lids remain open, otherwise it'll stop your appliances. So to light the appliances, you just got to press the ignition switch and turn the knob to your desired temperature. Just make sure that the flame is on before you close the oven. There's also a light and an exhaust fan, and I do like to open up a window too for extra ventilation. Also on our Territories and Xpedition vans, we have the digital water gauge. You just simply press this button here and it shows you both your tanks and your grey water. All our caravans also come standard with your microwave. Just remember, it can only be used on 240 volt. These roof hatches are super handy as they let a lot of light and air in. It's as simple as pressing the red buttons on both sides to release that, pulling the bar down and pushing it up. There's also a light and a block-out blind as well as your fly screen.
Our fridges are all three-way fridges, so they're gas, 240 and 12 volt. So the 12 volts, so the batteries only work when your car is connected. So that basically runs off a sensor wire that's connected to your car. So it won't run off the house batteries in the caravan, it'll only run off the car batteries. Also when it's gas, it's off the two gas bottles out the front and the 240 when it's plugged into a power outlet. Alright, so basically you have the option of selecting which power source, or you can leave it on auto. If you leave it on auto, it'll go to whatever power source is available. If for some reason you don't want to run it on 240, you can manually select it to run on gas, or you can manually just select it to run on 240.
We have the Nuva Mapper tables which rotate using the lever here on the right hand side. You can turn it all the way around, whichever way you'd like to use it, as well as the table can also be made into another bed by pressing this button on the floor with your foot and pushing down on the table.
So this is the brains of the caravan. In the Territories and the Xpeditions, we use the Red Arc Red Vision. So that is all Australian made and Australian supported. Some of the best gear that's on the market. And this gives you so much detail about what's happening with the van, how much solar is coming in, exactly what you're using. It's simple as going through and selecting exactly what you want to see. You can also hook this up with your phone, so you can be sitting around the campfire and knowing exactly what batteries your levels are at. In this cupboard we have your hot water gas service, so you use that when you're off grid, so when you're not connected to power. We also have the hot water electric, so that's what you use when you are connected to power. We have our master switch. This one here isolates all your 12 volt power. And then we have your fridge fan. So your fridge fan, you turn that on when you're in super humid conditions. When your fridge is starting to struggle a little bit to cool down, you put that fridge fan on to get rid of all that heat that's around the back of the fridge. Down the bottom, have your water pump. So this is what you use when you are off grid again and you're not connected to mains water. When your tanks are full, you turn this pump on, and what that does is it pressurizes the whole system and you're able to use all the water in your tanks. In here is the Fusion radio system. So this is Bluetooth compatible, so again you can sync it up with your phone, so you can play all your Spotify stuff through your phone through this Fusion system. You can also change the levels inside speakers and outside speakers. So if you really want to annoy the neighbours, you can put it as loud as you want on the outside speakers. Included in here is also this solar isolation switch. So if you ever need to do any work on the solar, or say you want to add an extra solar panel, you turn this, that'll isolate the solar panels so you're able to work on them. So up in this corner we have all our resettable fuses. So these fuses are all labelled to exactly what part of the van they relate to. So it's super simple. If one of them pops, all you got to do is push it back in. You also have your aircon isolation switch right here, and if for some reason you're drawing too much current, like you're running your aircon, your hot water system, you're running a coffee machine, all that at one time, it's going to draw too much power, which means your circuit breaker is going to trip. So when that trips, it's as simple as pushing it back up. So this is the chemical toilet. Up here, this blue button is your flush button. So you press this button, which puts water into the bowl. When your canister gets full, there is a red light that will come on up here indicating that it's time to empty that cassette. Now when you filled it up, you flushed it, there's a little lever under here that opens up that cassette, and once it's all flushed down, you close it up and it's sealed. So underneath our main bed, we always have our red arc battery charger. We also have our main fuses located here, and at the back we have our brake safe controller. Now there's a little bit to this one here. There is 3 settings on the brake safe controller. So you have the first one up the top is a 12-volt auxiliary power. So that's the one you use when you are connected to your car and you're doing a lot of trips. The next one is the battery charger. So the second one, so that's if your van's been sitting still for a while and you want to be able to charge up your battery. The next one is the off position. So if your van is in storage and sitting there for a certain amount of time, you have it off so you're not creating any charge on your battery. We have the push to test button just here. So if you push that in and the light comes up green, it means your battery is good. If you press it and it comes up orange, it means you need to charge your battery. So in here, there's also a little bit of room for some extra storage for anything else you want to stuff in there. So up here we have the TV connection point. We've got the 12-volt power, we've got the antenna connection, and we've also got the 12-volt booster. So if you want to get any signal, that booster needs to be on all the time.